Shalom. I just want to give all praises, honor, and glory to y'all about Shemi Awashai. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, Ruel, and also like to give honors to the Akim that's out here pushing his truth and sincerity to the four corners. Once again, I'm going to say Shalom. Oh yeah, and you brothers out there, man, the Akim, Great Millstone, man, I just want to say, man, I really appreciate, you know, how we've been on top of prophecy, man. You know, with that, I want to say, y'all Bashim, y'all Shai, Barakatah, Akadash. You know, all you brothers, man, y'all just, man, y'all make a brother keep pushing. Oh, yes. But I want to talk about this, man. You know, and this is proof that the white man is the Roman / Greek from the Bible, from biblical terms, you know. And we could prove that, you know, and I'm going to prove this in scripture, man. And people see these scriptures every day and they overlook them. And I'm going to go through it, right? And it's going to trip you out, but I'm going to go through this, right? Now, before I even start, right, just think about this. Every Greek and Roman holiday, every Greek and Roman festivity that they ever celebrated there, they do it here. They do it right here in America. They even got what they call the Olympics. Don't you know? Especially the Northern Kingdom really know about this, you know, because they know that Issachar was the main one fighting them bulls and them lions and shit back in the days. And what do they do right now for fun? They fight bulls and shit because they in the spirit. This is what the fuck was going on. But I'm gonna break this down, man. You know, now basically what I was telling y'all, like the scriptures, if they properly broken down, you know, it always explains what's going on. And this here, it properly broke down. It's going to explain in detail who Esau is and who truly has us in captivity. You know, that these people in America are the Greeks and the Romans of biblical times. Now, I'm going to get started. We're going to go to Deuteronomy. I'm going to give y'all a chance to go to this, man, because I want y'all to go to this. And I want you to catch up. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28 and 49. We're going to do it all the way through 57, but I'm going to be stopping and going. You already know I'm going to be breaking everything down. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 49. So, you know, I got my little raggedy Bible. Let's see. Okay, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 49. And it says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Now, we know that the swift as the eagle flieth was just a parable to let you know that this particular nation that the scriptures is referring to has used and has always used the eagle as its crest. You know, the eagle has always been the crest of this particular nation of people, right? And it says, a nation, it said from far. So now we know that this ain't Ishmael, you know, the Arabs. We know this ain't him, you know, as they were never a nation from afar. They was always right by us, right? You know, so there was never a nation far off. And when it says far off, it just means that when we go into captivity, we went into captivity, we would be taken somewhere that was far off, you know, by a certain group of people, right? You know, in captivity. So, because as we all know, these parts of the world, they were never inhabited. They wasn't inhabited. Didn't nobody live in these parts of the world in those days. We all was confined to like the Middle East area. You know, all the nations of people that existed. These wasn't nobody living in these parts until the Northern Kingdom came over here after they left Assyrian captivity and they came through Assyria, which is South America. Okay? Now, I'm going to continue to verse 50. And it says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. So, and I'm going to go ahead and read 52 too. And it says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou hast trusted it throughout all thy land, And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God have given thee. So this prophesies that Jerusalem was gonna, it was gonna fall. It was gonna be besieged, and which it did, and it happened in 70 A.D. So it was besieged in 70 A.D. just as prophesied in the scriptures, right? And we fled where? Into the land of Canaan, which today is called Africa. We was fleeing from Roman persecution. And then, so I'm gonna continue to verse 53. And it says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So, I'm going to break that down. So basically, it said we will feed our children to this white man. Because the Strong's definition of the word eat means to feed or give. So we will give our children to this devil through procreation. And it said, which the Lord thy God have given thee in the siege, or this captivity. And then it says, in the straitness, which, in the Strong's Concordance, the word straightness, it means what is justly due in the Greek, and the Greek word for that is yosher. And it says, and it's Strong's 34 and 76 if you want to look it up. Okay? And says, so these things was justly due to us for our disobedience, that we be distressed in all our gates. And gates just mean, a city or a town or camp, marketplace, royal castle, etc. So he was prophesizing that Jerusalem would fall, and it did. It got besieged, and like I said, those of us who escaped, we ran off into the land of Canaan, Salaki, which is the land of Africa, and we was fleeing Roman persecution. So, the Romans chased us out into Africa. Well, it wasn't Africa then, but it was called the land of Canaan. And let's go down to verse 54 and 55. And it says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom. Hold on me. And toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. Okay? So what that means? So basically, in slavery, it was a lot of house niggas who loved massa. And the field nigga, his eye was evil towards his brother who lived in the house, because they had it better and they was kissing massa ass. You already know how that went, So that the house nigga, they worshiped massa. So we had those who taught their kids to try to get away from this devil, to try to escape captivity, because we had that's where the runaway slaves and all that shit came in at, right? So we had those who taught our kids, to try to get away from this devil, or just die rather than to serve this motherfucker, or to be a slave to these people, because we get older, we realize that we gave all that we had to give. We gave this white man everything in our captivity, right? We gave up our kids, our strength, our inventions, our creativity, our health. The white man took it all. So, and he did. He took everything we had, So like I said, it was justice from the Most High, which is what straightness means. That these things that we were to suffer for our disobedience, and he would even have to come into America, would be distressed in all our cities or anywhere we went. Now, I'm going to read you these last two verses, and it's going to really trip you out because, it explains a lot about the condition of black men and black women and how the roles were reversed to where the woman became the breadwinner and the man became the bottom. And this was all prophesied in the scriptures. Now check this out. And this is the last two verses, which is 55 and 56. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, 55 and 56. It says, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. And then it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. So basically, it tell you, it said that the woman would feed them, which means that she would be the provider for her children instead of the man. So because we know that the word eat, according to the Strong's, means to feed or to give. So it said the woman would give or feed them, which means she would be the provider for her children instead of the man. So in this siege, she would take the role as provider, while the man would be made an outcast to his own woman and to all people, even our own men. But even in this, even this oppressor, he would distress even the black man and the black woman in all our gates, which is all our cities. And this is what you see right now. Right now, what you see is, and it says secretly. So I'm gonna read it for you again, so you get the understanding. And it says, and the tender, delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness. Now, I told you what straightness meant, you know. I broke down all of these different words, you know, and straightness means about, let me see, I think it was justice. Let me look it up again. Okay. Yeah, straightness is Strong's 3476. It means what is justly due. So, because the man transgressed against the Lord, he made the man under the woman. This was part of the curses. He put the man under the woman. And because the woman have the dominion right now over the man, and it says in one of all things, because if you read it right here, it says, and it says, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things. So she's gonna take care of she's gonna take the role of the man and assume the provider role. And when she does that, it's in one of all things. Like, she's gonna want the power that comes with that. And that's what happens. And this is what happened. And this is why you hear our women and our men going against each other. And this is why women won't accept the scriptures from men a lot of the times, because they feel like, you know, we're not in a position to demand any type of respect or demand any type of leadership role from them, because we can't give the material items that Esau set up in his kingdom to give to them first, you know. Because if you look at it, it ain't just one man; it's all black men, and it's only with black people. This don't have nothing to do with Esau controlling his wife. He's got dominion over the white woman, But as far as when it comes down to black people, he's giving the dominion to the woman because we already considered a lower class people to them. Okay, we would just came out of captivity, so they're not gonna put us on the same pedestal as a white woman and a white man. So the pedestals that they did give us, they put the man at the bottom of it because they know the man is who can create more Israelites. What they want is to get rid of us secretly. They want us to be gone. They want to be done with us. Okay? And how do they do it? They try to make division in the household. They turn the man against the woman. How they do that? They take the man's role and give it to the woman, and then they put the man as an outcast. And that's turmoil. And that's how it's done. And that's how they do it right now today. If you know anybody, the rules to Section 8, they set it up where a man can't live with a woman. So most women that you know that have Section 8 or public housing or any of that stuff like that, they put a lot of policies in place to keep the man from being in the household. Because what Esau want to do is he don't want a man raising his children. Esau wants to raise your children for you so that they can fuck you around. This is why if you whip your children, Esau is going to come at you. You know, and this is how you know this is Esau. Esau is that Roman and that Greek. I just broke that down to you in the Bible. It's that Roman and that Greek. And this is how you know when people be talking about, Esau is the Arab. Esau is the Arab. You know, Esau is the so-called white man, the Roman, that so-called Roman Greek. Because the scriptures told you that they would besiege our castle and our kingdom in 70 AD, and they did. You know, the Romans and the Greeks, they tore Jerusalem up in 70 AD. What we do? We fled Roman persecution, as I just said in Deuteronomy 28, right? Okay. Now, and then it told you after that when we got over here, that these very same people would that distressed us in our gates, in our city, would distress us right over here. And then when they get to the end of 68, it tells you that we will be sold on ships to these people. You know, that these Canaanites will sell us. These Hamites will sell us to this white man. And that's how we got here. And everything that's in Deuteronomy, it breaks down to you, man, who this man is. We know that Esau is the so-called white man because he fit the prophecies. We know that we the Israelites because we fit the prophecies. There's no other class of people that fit the prophecies better than the so-called Native Hispanic and the so-called black. Nobody. You know, so we know this, and the scripture that I just broke down, if you missed it, the way I broke it down, you know, and I did the etymology of different words to let you know exactly what those words meant and what the scripture meant. You know, because you'll read this and you'll get to a certain point and you'll be like, okay, well, I heard this. Let me see what he's gonna say to make this mean something different. You just gotta go by what the etymology of the word means, you know. And so when you break it down, you get to understand it. So with that being said, man, I just want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. I like to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and I also like to give honor to the Akim that's out here pushing this truth and sincerity to the four corners. Just want to say shalom.